What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's market analysis. For this market analysis, we're going to be covering today, which is the 22nd through the 27th. So the purpose of this analysis is to show you guys the areas that we're looking for trades from. Okay, now if you want to join us while we're taking these setups and we're taking these entries and know the exact entry points and why we're taking them, get the exact entries and join us in the trades, then you're going to have to join the academy. You're going to have to join the mentorship, right? That's where we send our setups. That's where we send our actual entries, right? So if you want that, join the mentorship. You can get a lot of knowledge from all the traders that are in there. It's a good community. So if you're interested, join that, right? But first of all, we're going to start off with DXY as we usually do. Now on DXY, we have this reaccumulation that is sitting right here. And it seems like we are approaching this low. Once we break this low, I can see DXY targeting here or potentially targeting, potentially targeting right here, which is another reaccumulation. So once DXY invalidates this low right here, we're probably going to see DXY go lower, targeting these areas. What does that mean for EU? What that means is EU is probably going to continue up, targeting more supply areas. Okay, so DXY is going to be targeting more demand. EU is going to be targeting more supply. Okay. So that's if that we break this low, and most likely than not, I can see us breaking this low. I don't really see anything stopping us from breaking this low since this market is just so bullish and we haven't seen a substantial pullback yet. We could see a pullback all the way down here, come back up here, and then continue higher. So now that we're on EU, we can see we kind of have the opposite thing going on. We have this reaccumulation coming into a supply zone, right? That's not a good sign. That usually means that the hands are transferring from sellers into buyers. So what I could see happen is, well, what I'm waiting to see happen is I want to see if we can break this high. If we break that high, we're most likely going to continue up here, or we're going to go up here. So it's kind of like the opposite of DXY, and that's why we look at DXY to kind of give us an idea of what the dollar index is doing to predict what EU is going to do. So if DXY most likely breaks that low and continue lower, then potentially your USD is most likely than not going to continue higher, break this high, and target these higher supply zones. Now, what we're looking for on EU is potentially we could get a hedge position, right? If we can get ourselves into a hedge position here, we could target these supply zones, right? Instead of us waiting for the market to come inside of these supply zones, since we know if we break this high, we're definitely coming into either this one or that one, then we could potentially catch ourselves in a hedge to target these instead of being bystanders and just watching the market move. All right, that's the best way to play, and that's why we hedge. Okay, so that's basically it for EU. It's pretty simple. We want to see if this high is going to get taken or not. If it doesn't get taken, then we're going to continue to market lower. As simple as that. GU is potentially the same thing. GU now has reached the 50% of this manipulation, which I was looking to see happen. What I want to see now on GU is if we're going to get that distribution that's going to cause us to go lower, right? Because GU is essentially bearish like EU is. So we are 100% bearish, but like the same thing with EU, we have not seen a substantial pullback in a while. So we could potentially see that happen. So the reason why we're saying this is because if you cannot get inside of a hedge position, you're going to be waiting for 450 pips, right? You're going to wait for GU to move 450 pips if you cannot manage to get inside of a hedge position. So you have to understand how you can get yourself inside a hedge position. You have to understand how to trade both sides of the market, okay? Now, on the contrary, if you don't understand how to trade counter trend, I'd rather you just wait, because I was speaking to a student earlier today and we were talking about how he was taking losses trading counter trend. Okay. One thing about counter trend is do not trade counter trend unless the market forces you to trade counter trend. Okay. That's the most important thing. The only way that we're going to trade counter trend is if we invalidate this high. Until then, I'm still looking for this sell. Okay. I'm still looking for that sell. And no, we do not trade this counter trend going back up. We wait for the market to come in here because this is an easier place to reach than this is. Okay. Understand that. That's how you can take losses when you're trying to trade and trying to catch every move. You're going to see that EU, GU, and AU are most likely than not similar. Okay. Simply, we're going to wait for AU to come inside of this zone right here. We're waiting for AU to come inside of this manipulation, right? It's already given us that slow price action, which we like to see. We want to see that continue higher, break of structure, and then we take a sell down. All right, that is AU. I have nothing else to speak on AU unless we break this high, which is so far away. We're gonna come into here, or we're gonna come into here. Okay, EU, GU, and AU are pretty similar. Okay, so moving on to Euro JPB. Euro JPB has reached the area that we're looking at from the last market analysis, which is this reaccumulation. Since we have reached this reaccumulation, we've showed some sign of buyings, but we didn't show that accumulation that I usually like to look for. So essentially what I'm waiting for now is if we can get some type of maybe reaccumulation to take out this high right here, because this high is part of a supply that drove us inside of this demand zone. So essentially, this is what we need to invalidate in order for us to continue higher. And you can see the market struggled in validating this area. So we have so much liquidity sitting up top of here. All right. Since we have struggled doing that, we could potentially see the market go down lower. And if we do, then we essentially have our extreme that we're going to have to look out for. That is the next place that I can see this market trade into, is the extreme. Now, if essentially we don't hold that, if we do not hold that extreme, we'll just go back to being bearish, that's fine. That is fine with Euro JPB because Euro JPB is higher time frame bearish. All right. So we're going to see what Euro JPB is going to give us. I'm not forcing myself into this market right now. We could potentially still drop a little bit lower below this and still accumulate higher, but most likely or not, that's not going to happen. Essentially, if we break this low, I can see us just continue lower. What we need to do is we need to creep up, break this high. Once we break this high, I'll look for an entry to go higher. Okay. Okay. So now USDCHF is a little bit more interesting. Okay. I have to go on a higher time frame to explain what is going on USDCHF. We have reached a higher time frame distribution, and you can see I marked out this UTAD of the distribution, and I marked out the 50%. You can see we came into the exact 50%, right? That is the power of Wyckoff smart money concepts. You have to understand these things. Okay, so looking at USDCHF right now, after hitting this supply zone, we have invalidated this reaccumulation, which is a key reaccumulation. And we didn't just invalidate it, we created a redistribution inside of this reaccumulation, meaning there were buyers here, but sellers took over, causing a redistribution. And you can see as soon as the sellers took over, you can see the evidence of these sellers taking over. You can see this huge impulsive move towards the downside. That's evidence to us that sellers has taken over the market from this area. So essentially it's from buyers that was here changing into sellers going down. So I had this redistribution marked out since Friday. Okay, because since Friday this was happening. And I already knew that USDCHF was not going to accumulate here. Why? Because we are in no man's land. There's no reason for us to accumulate right here. You could say, oh, maybe there is demand here. This demand is not strong enough to hold this supply zone. Okay, you have to simply accept that. This supply zone is a way bigger cause than this small little demand right here, or whatever was right there. Okay. And this whatever demand got mitigated multiple times. There's nothing going on here. Essentially what this is this is a trap. This accumulation is a trap. And that's why I put redistribution, because I know the market is going to continue lower and invalidate that. All right. So once this redistribution completes itself and we continue lower, I will look for a possible scalp inside of here first. And if not, then if we continue higher, I would look for a trade from here, which was my previous area. So essentially I could see USDCHF getting all the way back down to here into our actual areas where we have buyers at. So until then, I'm going to sell it down there. Unless we get, the biggest accumulation occur, then nah, I'm going to sell it all the way down. All right. And this is also counter trend. So understand, if you don't know how to trade counter trend, don't force yourself into it. Like, look at a market that is trending. All right. Don't force yourself into these markets that are not trending if you don't understand how to trade counter trend. Okay. AUD-CAD is the same thing as AUD-USD, as we mentioned in the last analysis. We are looking for sales. We have reached the 50% of our 48-minute candle, and we're starting to see the market slow down a little bit. That's what I want to see. So essentially right now, it is almost pre-London, right? It is almost Frankfurt open. So I just want to see us range a little bit more. I want to see Frankfurt come in. I want to see us manipulate these highs right here, get a break of structure to the downside, move down. All right, that is the prime setup that I want to see. Now, if that happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And we could potentially continue up to here. USDCAD has been stagnant for a while. This reaccumulation is a key reaccumulation. Just as USDCHF was a key reaccumulation, this is the same thing. If this gets invalidated, then we're going to come all the way back down here because there's no other demand sitting anywhere else. Okay? Understand that. Now, going inside of this demand zone, we can see the market is trying to accumulate. Well, this is taking too long, right? I was trying to trade this since the first accumulation, but after that, the market has just been invalidating these lows. So we could possibly see the accumulation still happen, but we're just going to have to see what's going to happen. I'm not trading anything in here right now until we start taking out these highs. Then I will trade the market higher, but I am not trading any sales either unless we take out this low. Right? So I'm not buying unless we take out these highs, and I'm not selling unless we take out this low. So I'm just watching it. Okay? I'm just watching it. Now, let's say USDCAD gives us, a perfect accumulation. I'll trade it, but I haven't seen that. So we're just going to be patient, and we're just going to let this market move. All right? CADCHF has reached a higher time frame supply. Okay, you can see this leg, so it's a downside, higher time frame supply, and you can see the significant movement that we got from this area. All right, you can essentially see 3 daily candles took out almost like 9 bullish daily candles. So 3 bearish candles took out 9 or 10 bullish candles, and this is on a daily time frame. Right, this is a lot of work, so it's key that we analyze this. And as you can see, the same thing as USDCHF, we have taken out our demand. Since we have taken out our demand, it's clear to say that sellers has taken control of the market. Now, I was looking for us to retrace back into here, but essentially we could get this redistribution, go down. I'm going to look for a scalp out of there. If not, then we're going to look for a trade out of there. So that's the only way that I'm getting into this. This is, however, not counter trend because higher time frame is bearish. So you're not trading counter trend here, right? Now, you could say you're trading counter trend according to the intraday, but higher time frame is bearish. All right. So now, let's say we're taking some sales. Where do we want to target? Well, the first area that I see that this market has potential to react from is here. Essentially, I don't think any of this is going to hold this supply. All right. Except for this huge reaccumulation and here where we had all the buying pressure at. Okay. So these 2 big areas is where I see potential for us to get a reaction from. If we don't buy from these 2 areas, the market is going to continue lower and make a completely new low. So this is a perfect hedging opportunity. All right. If you can get a trade inside of CADCHF, get a trade inside of there. And that's a perfect hedging opportunity for you to potentially take this market all the way down here. All right. Now, that is some insane RR. So just look out for that. Just look out for that. So essentially, that is the market analysis for the Forex pairs. So looking at crypto has not really changed. There's nothing really significant that has happened in crypto. I like the fact that we have slowed down. I like the slowdown of the selling pressure. What we need to see is a range occur. Once we see that range occur, we see that sweep accumulation. That'll be a perfect opportunity to start getting interested in crypto again. But until we see that happen, we could still potentially go down inside of this huge demand. All right, which is at the 13 level. All right, so just keep a watch out on crypto, keep a watch out on Bitcoin. Do not FOMO in, just relax and let the market do its thing. All right, so like I was saying before, if you guys want to know the exact entries that we're taking, if you want the exact setups, join the mentorship, join the academy. All right, so that is pretty much it for this market analysis. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.